Okay, so you want to own a wedding venue. Buy a beautiful old barn, or a country house, or a hall with a view, hang some lights, put out 100 chairs, and rent it to people on the happiest day of their lives. It sounds like the gentlest business on earth. You are not selling anything difficult. You are not fixing anything, not manufacturing anything, not competing on price with a shop down the road. You are selling a beautiful room on a Saturday. And here is the first strange thing. The thing that makes people angry before they even understand it. Take a room, a plain function room, a hall, a large space with a bar and a kitchen. Call up and ask what it costs to hire it for a corporate event on a Saturday. Then call back, same room, same day, same number of guests, same food, and say the word wedding. The price triples. Nothing about the building changed. Nothing about the labor changed. The chairs did not become more expensive to move. The lights did not become harder to hang. One word changed, and the number changed with it. Now, most people hear that and assume it is simple greed, that venues have discovered a magic word and squeeze it, and there is some of that. But if that were the whole story, competition would kill it. Another venue down the road would offer the same room at the corporate price and take every wedding in the county. That does not happen, which means something else is going on, something structural, and once you see it, you will never look at a wedding invoice the same way again. Because a wedding venue is not really selling a room, it is selling to a customer who has been quietly stripped of every single power a normal customer has. Let me show you what I mean, because this is the real machine. Think about what you are, as a buyer, when you walk into a shop. You have 5 powers, and you use them without ever noticing. You can compare, you can walk away, you can wait, you can test the product before you commit, and you can complain afterwards and get your money back. Every one of those is a weapon, and every one of them keeps the seller honest. Now watch what happens to each of them at a wedding. Start with the ability to compare. In a normal purchase, you compare because you have bought something similar before. You know roughly what a coffee costs, what a haircut costs, what a hotel room costs, because you have bought hundreds of them. Your entire sense of a fair price comes from repetition. Now, how many weddings have you organized? For almost everyone on earth, the answer is 1 or none yet. You have no reference price. You have never bought 100 plated dinners. You have never hired a room for 8 hours. You have never priced table linen. So when a venue tells you a number, you have nothing to measure it against. You are being asked to judge whether a price is fair in a market you have entered exactly once and will never enter again. And here is the deeper problem with comparing. Every venue is technically unique. One has the old stone barn, one has the lake, one has the terrace facing the sunset. So even when you get 3 quotes, you are not comparing the same product. You are comparing 3 different feelings, and feelings do not have a market price. So power number 1, comparison, is effectively gone. Now the second power. The ability to walk away. In a shop, walking away costs you nothing. You put the item down and leave. Now consider a wedding. You pick a date. You tell your family. You tell your friends. You book a photographer, a band, a florist, a caterer, a car, a cake, all of them around that one date at that one place. Some of them fly in. Some of them booked time off work. Your relatives arranged travel. Everything, socially and financially, is anchored to that venue on that day. Now try to walk away 3 months out because you think the bar prices are unreasonable. You cannot. Not really. Walking away no longer means losing a deposit. It means unpicking dozens of other commitments, disappointing everyone you know, and looking in front of your entire family like the couple who could not organize their own wedding. So power number 2 is gone as well, not because of a contract, but because of social gravity. Now the third power. The ability to wait. In almost every other purchase, time is on your side. Prices come down, sales happen. You can wait a month. If the price of a television offends you, you simply do not buy it this week. A wedding has a date on it, and that date is often chosen for reasons that have nothing to do with money, a season, an anniversary, when family can travel, when a venue had availability at all. Once that date is set and announced, you are on a countdown with no pause button. You cannot say to a venue, "I will wait until you are cheaper," there is no later. Which brings us to the fourth power, the ability to test before you commit. Think about how much of your life is protected by this. You test drive the car, you try on the shoes, you read the reviews, you taste the sample, you use the free trial. If it is not right, you have not really lost anything. A wedding is one of the very few large purchases in a person's life that is paid for in full before it happens, and consumed exactly once, with no possibility of a second attempt. You cannot have a trial wedding. You cannot say, "That one was not great, we will run it again next Saturday." Whatever happens, happens once, in front of everyone you know, demo, and then it is a permanent memory, which means the buyer is not just paying for a service, they are paying for certainty, and they will pay a great deal for it, because the downside is not a bad meal or a wasted afternoon. The downside is a memory they will carry for the rest of their lives. And that leads directly to the fifth power, the ability to complain and be made whole. In a normal business, if the product is bad, you get a refund and you try again elsewhere. That works because the purchase is repeatable. A refund actually restores you, but a refund cannot restore a wedding day. If the food is cold, if the room is not ready, if the staff are rude, you can be given your money back and you have still lost the thing you were buying. The event happened, it cannot be rerun. So the usual remedy, money back, is almost meaningless. Add those 5 together and look at what you have. A customer who cannot compare, cannot walk away, cannot wait, cannot test, and cannot be made whole if it goes wrong. That is not a normal buyer. That is the most powerless a person will ever be while spending a very large amount of money. And that, not the pretty barn, is what a wedding venue actually owns. Now I want to be fair here, because there is a real cost side to this, and the good operators earn every bit of what they charge. A wedding is not a room hire. It is a one-day event that has to run perfectly with no rehearsal for 100 or 200 people, most of whom have never been to this building before. Staff have to be scheduled and paid for a long, intense day. Food has to be produced at scale and served at the same moment to everyone. The building has to be set up and stripped down. Toilets, parking, weather contingencies, timing, suppliers arriving all day. And crucially, the venue absorbs the risk of everything going wrong in a situation where going wrong is catastrophic and unfixable. Some of what you are paying for is genuine operational difficulty, and some of it is insurance against a day that cannot be repeated. That part is real. But it does not explain the tripling of the price, because that difficulty is largely the same whether the event is a wedding or a large corporate dinner. The gap between those two prices is not operational, it is behavioral. So that is the first mechanism, and it explains why the number is high. But it does not explain how the business actually makes its money, because here is the thing that surprises people. For many venues, the room hire fee is not where the profit lives at all. The room hire is the entry ticket. The real business begins the moment you are inside, because when you book a wedding venue, you are almost never just booking a space. You are agreeing, usually without noticing, to a set of rules about who is allowed to sell things to your guests. And those rules are the actual product. Read a venue contract carefully, and you will usually find some version of this. All food must be provided by the venue, or by an approved caterer from our list. All drinks must be purchased through our bar. No outside alcohol may be brought onto the premises. Corkage, if permitted at all, is charged per bottle. Now think about what that means commercially. You have just made one company the only seller of food and alcohol to 150 people for 6 to 8 hours, in a building they cannot leave, on a day when nobody is going to slip out to a shop. There is no competitor inside those walls. There is no price comparison at the bar. Guests do not shop around, they simply order, and they order a lot, because it is a celebration and someone else set the prices weeks ago. This is the same structure we have seen before in other businesses. Create a closed space, control who is allowed to sell inside it, and the price stops being set by the market and starts being set by whoever holds the keys. A wedding venue is one of the purest versions of this on land, and that is why the exclusive catering rule exists, and why couples find it so infuriating. It is not stubbornness, it is not tradition, it is the business model. The room is the bait, the bar is the machine. Look at the structure of a typical bill, and you can see it clearly. There is a venue hire fee, which sounds like the main cost, then a per-head charge for food, which quietly multiplies by every person you invite, then drinks packages, which are sold before the day per guest, often as a fixed price for a set number of drinks, then service charges, then upgrades. And notice the beautiful design of the per-head model. Every single guest you add increases the venue's revenue, and you, the couple, are the one being socially pressured to add them. Your mother wants to invite cousins. Your partner has colleagues. Every one of those names is a line item, and the person doing the emotional work of expanding the list is not the venue, it is you. And then there are the drinks packages, which deserve their own moment. Buy a package for every guest at a fixed price, and it looks like control, and it looks like value, but most of the room will not drink their full allocation. Some guests are driving, some do not drink at all, some leave early, some are chasing children around the garden. You have paid for 150 people to drink like enthusiasts, and perhaps 90 of them will. It is the same mechanism as an all-inclusive package on a cruise ship, or a gym membership in January. You pay for the maximum and consume the average, and the gap between those two numbers is where the business lives. Now, the third layer, and this is the part that actually explains the prices, and it is the part almost nobody thinks about. Ask yourself a simple question. How many times can a wedding venue sell its product? Not per year, per day. The answer is one event in one building on one day. You cannot run 2 weddings at once in the same room. You cannot serve a second sitting at 9 in the evening, unlike a restaurant which turns its tables 3 times a night, or a hotel which sells every room every single day. A wedding venue has exactly 1 unit of inventory per day, and most days nobody wants it, because now adds seasonality. In most places, weddings cluster heavily into a short window, late spring through early autumn, warm weather, long evenings, and within that window they cluster again into Saturdays, not Tuesdays, not Februaries, Saturdays in summer. So do the arithmetic that the owner does. There are 52 Saturdays in a year. Strip out deep winter, strip out the awkward shoulder weeks, strip out the dates nobody wants, and a venue might have somewhere in the region of 25 to 30 genuinely sellable prime dates in a year. Some venues fill midweek and off-season with corporate events or smaller functions, and the smart ones fight hard for exactly that. But the core business, the one that pays the mortgage, is a couple of dozen Saturdays. Now look at the costs sitting underneath that. The building exists all year. The mortgage or rent is paid all year. Insurance all year. Heating, maintenance, gardens, cleaning, licenses, repairs all year. A beautiful old barn does not stop needing a roof in February because nobody is getting married in it. So you have a business with 12 months of costs and roughly 6 weekends a month of possible revenue for half the year and almost nothing for the other half. That is the real reason the price of a Saturday in June is what it is. That Saturday is not paying for itself. It is paying for the Tuesdays. It is paying for January. It is paying for every empty week in the calendar. And now, finally, you can understand the most hated part of the entire industry, the deposit. The non-refundable deposit. When a couple books a date, the venue takes a payment that is often substantial and almost never returnable. To the couple, this feels like a punishment, or a trap, and emotionally it stings. But look at it from the other side of the table. The moment that date is booked, it is removed from sale. It cannot be offered to anyone else. If the couple cancels 4 months out, the venue has lost one of its 25 sellable dates, and the chance of selling it again at short notice, for a product that people book a year or more in advance, is close to zero. The deposit is not really a fee. It is compensation for taking one of the very few things this business has to sell off the market. Understand that, and the whole shape of the industry snaps into focus. This is a business with almost no inventory, extreme seasonality, huge fixed costs, 1 shot per day, and a customer who cannot compare, cannot wait, and cannot walk away. That combination is the entire explanation. So let me put you inside it for a moment. It is a Saturday in June. The building looks extraordinary. The garden has been cut that morning. Somebody has been in since 6, laying 140 place settings, folding napkins, aligning glasses, checking that the second table from the window does not wobble. In the kitchen, food for 140 people is being timed to land at the same minute. Outside, a florist is on a ladder, a band is unloading, a photographer is walking the grounds looking for the light, and 2 people are about to have the day they have been imagining for 18 months and paying for 18 months, a day that will exist exactly once, in front of every person they love. And on the other side of it, quietly, is a business that has been waiting all winter for this Saturday, that has heated an empty building through February, that has watched the calendar and hoped the good dates fill, that knows this single day has to carry the weeks around it. Both of those things are true at the same time, and neither of them is villainous. That is what makes this business so uncomfortable to look at clearly. It is not a scam. The costs are real, the risk is real, the work is genuinely hard, and the day genuinely matters. But it is also, structurally, one of the most one-sided transactions a normal person will ever take part in, and that is not an accident. It is the shape of the thing. So when someone buys a wedding venue, understand what they are actually buying. Not a barn, not a hall, not a view. They are buying about 25 Saturdays a year, sold to people who have never bought this before and will never buy it again, who cannot compare the price, cannot test the product, cannot postpone the date, cannot walk away without social ruin, and cannot be made whole if it goes wrong. And every one of those buyers will tell you, sincerely, that it was worth it. That is not a contradiction. That is the business. A wedding venue does not sell you a place to get married. It sells you the one day you are not allowed to negotiate over.